Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Sambus Geospatial Industry webinar. It's good to see you all here, especially those who joined us for our previous events. I think we have some of us here from the Sambus Geo conference, and we have some of us from the hydrology analysis webinar we had way back in March. It's good to have you with us still, and we cannot begin to express how much this means to us that you've been with us all this week. It is 10 by my watch. So with your permission, I would like to kickstart this meeting. Today, we are focusing on geospatial insights for disaster management. And you can all agree with me that in this kind of era that we are in, it is very important to be prepared even for the most unforeseen incidents. Fires, floods are one of the most common hazards that we experience in our society, especially with this climate change crisis that we are in now. So this was the initiative Sambus Geospatial came up with, and we realized that if we decide to put everything together, fires, floods, and agency roles, we'd probably spend the whole day here. And we wouldn't want that because you know how busy you are. Trust me, it is very, very appreciated that you've taken time off your busy schedule to be with us here. For this particular session, we are going to focus on fire outbreaks. There'll be a second session where we'll look at flooding. And the third, we'll look at how all these insights tie into agency roles in combating and preparing for these disasters. My name is Josephine Into, and I'm the R&D officer for Sambus Geospatial. Our main speaker for today will be Justin Yeri, who is also with us at Sambus Geospatial. And I'll give you a few more insights and tips into his background, a sneak peek into what he's been up to. Our agenda for this particular session and presentation is to look at fire incident mapping. We are going to take a look at various GIS mapping tools that are very useful for this particular workflow, and I'm sure Mr. Justin will speak more on that. There will be a short demonstration on how to use some of these mapping tools, and believe you me, these tools are not limited to just fires. You can use them for other forms of analysis, and if you need any further clarification, if you have some comments or questions, there will be a Q&A session for you to make all these requests and to ask for this clarification. After which, we would ask for your assessment on your take on our presentation so far. And that will be our closing. As we head deeper into the meeting, please let's note the following housekeeping rules. I hope you are all aware, but this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be made available at the end of the presentation. We would like to create it better for you, so kindly allow up to 24 hours for the video to be shared to you. The notice will be made on our social media platforms. It will be made available on our YouTube channel, and we'll let you know how you can get to these social media sites. I think I've already mentioned that you can ask your question in the Q&A section. At this point, we are all muted to maintain as minimal distractions as possible. But then if you have any questions, you can type them in the Q&A section. After the presentation, the opportunity will be given to discuss these questions and comments. And if you want to express yourself verbally, you'll be unmuted and given the opportunity to make your comments. Again, a feedback form will be shared. It is very important that we know your assessment and your perception of how we did in this webinar, so that we can improve ourselves and then prepare for the flooding webinar, which I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to, of our webinar. Inviting the very able Justin Yeri, who is our speaker for today. Just a little bit about him. He is the technical support and professional services lead here at Sambus. He has an MSc in Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation from the University of Twente in Netherlands. And he has a specialty in water resource and environmental management. Wow. He's an expert in his field, as you can see, looking all sharp and able. Mr. Justin, it's good to have you on board. Welcome. It's good to see you.
All right. Thank you very much for your kind words of introduction. Yes. As the topic for today states, we'll be looking at the fire aspect of disaster management. And without much ado, as I'll be showing a number of things through the demo we'll be showing. I would not like to waste so much time, but go straight into the meat of our meeting today. All right, so fire incident mapping. And in this case, we'll be looking at the Ghana as our case study. So the Ghana National Fire Service, per their records, have indicated that for the first quarter of this year, about 2,177 fires have been recorded. And if we go back the same period for the year 2022, 2,403 fires were recorded, indicating a 9.4% decrease in the records. So I think this particular webinar is coming in handy. Probably would give us insights into how to adequately report fire cases and give the fire service and the fire officers in our vicinities the opportunity to adequately handle these fire incidents without much distraction. But before we go into the fire incident mapping, the tools we'll be showing today or displaying today are not just for fire incident mapping. They can be used for various other projects and incident mapping. So for monitoring evaluation, for resource allocation, project siting, many other projects, depending on the kind of project it is and the kind of data you'll be collecting. You just need to tweak one or two things to suit your particular case, and it will work for you once you understand what you are mapping. Moving on, I would like to talk about the tools we'll be using. So in this case, we'll be looking at tools for from Esri. So Esri is one of the leading geospatial technological institutes in the world, and has developed a lot of tools for various solutions and for various phenomena. So for mapping, analysis, decision making, giving you an insight into what you are interested in or what you are studying. And I'd like to ask a question here before we proceed. So maybe in the few slides to come, the answer will be given, and we'll use that to. You might probably be giving the first person who will be giving us that answer a reward. Yes. So Esri, I would like to know what it stands for. We have it here, ESRI. What does it mean? It's an abbreviation, so if you could type in the comment section what it is, and I'm pretty sure we'll be giving the first person that will be giving us the answer something at the end of this webinar. Great. So as I mentioned, as one of the leading geospatial technological institutes in the world, we have developed several tools that we can use for various phenomena. And for today's webinar, we'll be looking at some of the data collection tools. We'll be looking at some of the analysis tools and visualization tools, that's if time permits. But for our demo, we'll be focusing more on the Agile survey 1, 2, 3. How to configure a form, how to collect data, and how to visually understand the kind of data you are collecting. We'll proceed to make some analysis with the data that will be generated at the end of the day. Yes, so for the visualization and the data analysis, we'll look at the ArcGIS Pro, and at the end of the day, give you an insight into a dashboard, how to visualize this for a decision maker, for a fire safety engineer or a fire safety manager who will not be so much interested in the nitty-gritties of what goes on in the analysis stage. Such a person would want to look at the dashboard and answer questions relating to that, or make decisions based on what he or she is visualizing from the dashboard. So we'll show you a sample of that as well. And if the time permits, we'll look at ArcGIS Insight and what it can do. But actually, I think the ArcGIS Insight will come in very handy in the last part of this webinar series. So this first one is looking at fire. The second one will be looking at flooding, and the role of institutions will be the last part. So for the managers of the system or a system in any country, it will be interesting to understand based on the dashboard view or the processed data, understand what steps can be taken in order to curb similar situations from happening. So that will come towards the end, and hopefully if you're able to join us for the last part of this webinar series, you'll have a lot more on that. So moving on to ArcGIS Survey 1, 2, 3. So a question will be asked: what is it? What is ArcGIS Survey 1, 2, 3? So ArcGIS Survey 1, 2, 3 basically is a form-centric solution designed for creating, sharing, and analyzing data. So great, I can see someone is trying to give us the answer in the chat box. That's great. That's very nice. So it's a data collection tool basically for creating, sharing, and analyzing data. And it's form-centric. So when we talk of it being form-centric, it means it comes in a form format. You're able to generate data in a form format. So you design the form, inputting all the necessary parameters you are interested in studying in it, and you can select the form, the type of data you would want to collect. So if you want quantitative data, you can state it there. If you want qualitative data, you state it in the form design, and that will give you the opportunity to make analysis at the end of the day when the data is collected. Some of the uses of Survey 1, 2, 3, some of the common uses include environmental observations, inventory or damage management, or unplanned event data collection, so census data collection, asset management, field inspections, amongst others. And in this case, we'll be looking at how to use the Survey 1, 2, 3 in collecting fire incidents. Great. Moving on, we would like to talk about the ArcGIS Pro, which is more of the data analysis tool. Yes, so before I go on to talk more about this, I would like to give Madam Moderator the opportunity to let us see what we got from the question I asked much earlier. So if you can come in and tell us the answers that the participants have given us, and we'll see who will be getting something from this at the end of this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Justin. We've had some responses. It seems we all seem to have an idea of what the name is, but there are slight variations in the name. So please, you would tell me which one is most correct. There are responses which say ESRI stands for Environmental Systems Research Institute. Another option is Environmental System and Research Institute. There's Environmental Scientific Research Institute. And there's Environmental Systems Research Institute Incorporated. So those are the responses we have so far. What is your take on that, Mr. Justin?
Yes, I think the first comment seemed to be interesting. So that one got it right. Environmental Systems Research Institute. Yes. And I think that was the first that was the first response that came in. I can see someone has a environmental scientific. So because of the S, I know it usually confuses a lot of people, as most people expect it to be more scientific than a system. But in this case, it's a system. So Environmental Systems Research Institute is what it stands for. So I think, who is that? Emmanuel Yabua. Yeah, I think Emmanuel Yabua was the one that got that one right. So hopefully at the end of this webinar, we'll be talking to that and seeing what you will be getting from us today.
Congratulations, Emmanuel.
All right. Okay. Now moving back to our presentation. So ArcGIS Pro is a fully featured professional GIS application from Esri. And ArcGIS Pro is designed for exploring, visualizing, and analyzing data that has been collected on the field. So in this case, we'll be looking at some of the incidents that were collected in the field. We'll try to run some analysis with it, so you have a more practical feel of the data that is being processed, and some of the other things that you can do with it. We might not be able to go through all the analysis that can be performed, but you would see how ArcGIS Pro works and what it does. I'm pretty sure most of us here have used ArcMap. From the survey, I could see that we had a lot of people who were GIS inclined, and I know in one way or the other, ArcMap would have come in somewhere with the picture. But we will look at how different the ArcMap is from ArcGIS by running a number of things here. Though most of the processes and workflows might be similar, but we'll see some of the difference. And once you're able to run those analysis, you'll be able to generate maps. So they can be in 2D or 3D, depending on the kind of data that is being processed. So if you are processing data that has the altitude or the Z components, as some other people will call it, and it's being processed correctly, you should be able to have a 3D scene of whatever you are analyzing. ArcGIS Pro also provides the opportunity for data to be shared and collaborative work to be done on the system. So in this case, you do not have to do your work and maybe print it out, send it to someone out, maybe in a different office from where you are, to be able to make input into what you are doing. You can share your information directly to your colleagues to work on without any problem. So that is one of the other benefits of ArcGIS Pro. Right. So for the data visualization tools, we'll be looking at the ArcGIS dashboard. So what is an ArcGIS dashboard? Can anyone help me out in the comment section? If you can, let me see. Quickly. No comment yet. All right. Then I'll start talking to it while I wait and see if there's going to be any comment coming from there. So an ArcGIS dashboard basically combines the location-based analytics with interactive map visualization tools, to make insights and trends on phenomena being explored. Okay, so I think Emmanuel Yabua is back with a response. So ArcGIS dashboard is a data visualization tool offered by Esri, as part of his ArcGIS platform. So that's what Emmanuel Yabua said. Yes, that's great. Good. And it's very true with what he said. It's designed by Esri, so yeah, he's on the right track. Great. So one would ask why a dashboard if I have the ArcGIS Pro. So the ArcGIS dashboard basically helps in decision making and trend analysis, monitoring, and information gathering from the manager perspective. So in a situation like a fire disaster, which we'll be showing today, not everyone will be interested in what happens in the back end, but might be interested in seeing or having a general overview of the fire incidents in Ghana. So for someone like that, maybe someone at the National Office of the Ghana National Fires would want to know the extent to which fires have occurred around the country, or maybe zoom into some selected districts. The ArcGIS dashboard is a perfect tool for such a person. So the person would be able to explore the dashboard, zoom into specific areas, understand the trends, amongst others that are happening, and that will help the person make a quick decision while perhaps waiting for the analysis that will be coming from the technical persons. So in this case, the GIS analyst or the data analyst within the organization. So the dashboard basically gives you a quick overview of what the situation is like. Great. That's good. So we'll move on to our demo session. So in this case, I'll be showing you a number of things. I'll show you. I'd like to share my screen briefly. Great. All right. I hope you can all see my screen. Yeah, hello.
I can see your screen here.
You can see my screen. Yeah. Great, that's good. All right. So for the demo section, I would like to show the Survey 123 and how it can be configured for data collection. So what you are looking at currently is my ArcGIS Survey 123 platform. So here I'm logged into my organization. So in this case, logged into Sambus organization. So these are some of the forms that we have generated for specific and projects we have undertaken. But for today, we'll be interested in looking at just this one created for this particular webinar, which is titled Fire Incident Report Ghana. Yes. So I would quickly like to open it. So we have a look at how the form was configured. And if there's a need, we could add one or two things to it. So basically, this form was created somewhere on the 15th of September in preparation for this webinar, as you can see. Not much data has been recorded. We have about 8 different records that have been taken. And currently, well, I'm the only one who has populated this particular survey. So that's why you see total participants indicating 1. And the last time this particular survey was used or updated was on the 27th, that's yesterday. I did a few test runs to see if it works properly. So basically that is it. So we'll first of all look at the design, how the form was designed for this particular survey. And once this is a demo for fire incident mapping, and it's a quick one, the questions are not so much. I have just 9 questions in it. And for incident mapping, we would like to know, once it's a fire situation, the exact date in which it happened. So as you can see from my screen, this is a required field here. So the date is very important for this particular record we'll be taking. So that is why it's a required field. The severity of the fire, also a required field. I think the rest I made them open, so not so much a problem. But we could change some of those ones to make them required as well if we come to the edit area. So there are a number of things we could do in here depending on what feature we are on. Yes, so we can add onto and take out if we want to do that. We have the region aspect. So region here is a drop down button incorporating the regions of Ghana and this. So once you are able to select the area of interest, you can select the region. You can select the type of fire as well. So is it domestic, motor, commercial, or others? So if it's others, you can indicate exactly what kind of fire it is. You can also indicate the number of injuries that have been recorded from this fire. You can also indicate the number of deaths if there were any. So if you have additional comments to give, you add that as well. Take a picture of the situation, and you can navigate on the map to the exact location in which it was. So you submit the location component of the incident you are reporting as well. Yes, so basically that is it. Now I would like to show briefly the data that has been collected previously. So as and when we collect new data, we'll come back and see the difference that would be on the form. So these are some of the incidents that we're taking briefly for this particular survey. So as you can see, the 8 incidents that were reported, they are stated in there. So different kinds of information collected in this case. So as and when we collect the other one, we'll come back and check if there's any update to this particular form. We can also analyze and see the kind of data that has been collected. So you remember when I was talking about the survey 123, I talked of it being having an analysis component. So this is that particular part. So you can look at the data that was collected in various forms based on the question. So you can see it, the date, the incident dates, the dates are being given, and the severity level is also there. You can see that. So for a general understanding of the situation, you'll be able to understand what it is even before you move on to the ArcGIS Pro to perform your analysis. Great. So and some of the pictures that we're taking. So in this case, I tried it around the office. So you can see some of the pictures I took around while I was trying out the survey. So I'd like to go straight forward and collect data, so we can come back to the web version and see if there's any update. So in this case, this is the mobile version of the survey 123. I showed you much earlier. So survey 123 mobile version. So I'm logged in, as I showed you earlier, with my Sambus credentials into my organization, so I can have access to the survey form that was created. So now this is the particular form I'm interested in, so I'll click on it. Once that is done, it gives me the opportunity to collect data and to and view the sent data that I have I performed using this particular form. So that's on my device. So if other people were also collecting, they would also see the number of information they have sent from their devices. So I'll go straight to collect a sample, and we can see if there's any change. So for the date, which is a required field, I'm going to leave it as 28th. That's today's date. For the severity, I would like to choose, I think I'll go with the high. That should work for me. For which region? in Ghana would that be? Which region do I choose here? I think from what I showed much earlier, we had most of the regions being covered. All right. So in this case, I might just go straight to, let me use the central region. I think that should work for me. So what kind of fire was it? In this case, I'll choose a motor. So number of injuries. So I can go for, let's see, 34, or let's say 37 injuries. So number of deaths is any, and as a motor accident, we might go for something like 3, just so that you understand the situation. So what comment do I have to give regarding this particular incident? So in this case, I'll say it was well, it's a motor accident involving let's say 1 car, yes, and let's say 2 buses. Let's just use the buses. Yes, so 1 car, 2 buses. Yeah. So that basically anyone looking at the data understanding it's a motor incident that was recorded would be able to understand the case in which it happened. So in this case, I can take a picture, or if I'd already taken a picture of the situation, I can navigate to my gallery and I can select that. But in this case, I would like to just take a quick picture. Yes. All right. Great. So I'll take a quick picture of the situation. Great. Picture taking. And I would like to navigate on the map to the exact location where the incident happened, so we see how it looks. So once I come here, I can click on the map. It sends me to the map view. I can just scroll down somewhere. So I think I made it central region, where on the map, let's see. Okay, let me just make it Winneba, somewhere Winneba. So let's say it happened that the fire incident happened at the Winneba roundabout. So I can leave the marker there. Once I'm satisfied with where it's located, great. Yeah. All right. I can check it to confirm I'm satisfied with where it is, and I can submit the form. So once you click on the submit, it gives you the opportunity to send the information immediately. You can save it as well, or continue to collect other surveys, so later on you can send it. So the good thing about Survey 123 is it works both online and offline. So in a situation where you do not have internet access readily, you could download the form on your device, and as you move along, once you see an incident that you would like to report, you can fill the form, and maybe at the time you are filling it, there was no internet access for you to submit the form immediately. You can save it on the device, and once you get into a place with internet connectivity, then you can send that particular form. So it works both online and offline. But in this case, I'll just like to submit, so we see what happens at the back end. Great. So submitted. So before we started, this was indicating 5, so it has been sent, and that's why we have the number showing 6 here. So I'd like us to go back to the web version and see if there's any change to our form. A minute. Yes. So before this was 8, so now we have 9 total cases recorded. The last submitted date has been updated as well to the 28th, which is today. Oh, that's good. So we can go to the data aspect and see if there have been any updates as well. Great. So once we zoom in, we see the Winneba fire we kept at the Winneba roundabout has been added to the online map version of the ArcGIS. Great. So it has been updated on the phone. So comment stated 1 car, 2 buses in the central region, motor accident 37. Injuries with 3 deaths in this case. Yeah, that's good. So once this data has been loaded onto our ArcGIS online platform, which is connected, we can proceed to the ArcGIS Pro to visualize this data, and from there we can run further analysis as to the fire incident. Yeah. So quickly, I just come into open my ArcGIS. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So opening up my ArcGIS Pro. So just like the survey 1 to 3 I showed. So in here you can see I'm signed in with my Sambus credentials. So with that, I can quickly navigate to my portal, okay, where I'll be able to have access to the information from the survey form that was created. Okay, so I'll go to my portal, and there we go. So in the portal, we have a survey, so fire incident report Ghana, which is exactly what we just worked on. So I can open it up and I can see the form, the results, and the data itself. So I'm interested in the data. I can just load it onto our ArcGIS Pro. So I'm loading it to our current map frame. So the data has been loaded, as you can see. So I can zoom in to the data. So we have a general understanding of what we are doing. Great. Okay. So as you can see, the update has been made. The Winneba one just came up. So an update has been made on that. Before we proceed, let me just load a boundary layer of Ghana. So at least it will guide us as we are continuing with our research. So in my data portals, I have a boundary. Yes, so Ghana boundary. I'll just like to load that. So that will give us a general understanding of the area we are working with. And I would like to make it a hollow background so we can see the base map. All right, symbolized correctly. Once I'm satisfied with the symbology, I can close that for now. And we can go on to the fire incident. I'd just like to show you the attributes in the data that has just been loaded. Good. So these are the attributes. Okay, good. So in here you can see creator is taking my name as the creator of this particular survey, and I collected the data as well. So all that is there. So I created, edited, and the incident date from here we have the data that was collected. So we have the incident dates, the severity, the comments. We have the region as stated, the type of fire, amongst others. So all the data we collected, we have it instantly on our ArcGIS tool, and we can run analysis on them if we so wish. So the one we just added is here on the last one. So so if we check the date, that's the 28th, what we just submitted, and yeah, severity was high. We can look at all those other features. Great. For the analysis aspect, because this was quite a quick one, I would like to load different set of data so we can use that for the analysis for today. And this data might not be so comprehensive as I would want for us to run some other analysis. So I'll just like to quickly load some other data I prepared for this demo. So I'll load it into my current map, and I'll load this as well into my current map. Great. So I have loaded fire incidents. So this particular one represents some major fires that have taken place in Ghana from the year 2000 to 2023, some of the major ones. So we gathered this one from the internet. We just selected a few of the fire incidents that happened. So as you can see from this particular column, we have the type of fire. So Kwame Nkrumah Circle fire. We have the Kumasi Central Market, Tama Oil Refinery. We have the Ghana Medical Stores, and we have about 49 cases of major fire incidents that happened in Ghana. So we're using that one for our analysis for today. Great. We also have fire stations. So this I would like to show briefly as well. So these are some of the fire stations in Ghana, not the entire one. So this we got from OpenStreet. We'll give credit to them for that. And we'll be using it to perform some few analysis so we can understand some of the analysis that can be performed on data collected on fire. Great. So before we go on to perform the analysis, I would just like to re-symbolize some of the incidents that we have here, so that they represent, at least they kind of represent what they should be, and not just points on the map. So in this case, for the fire incidents, I would like to use a fire symbol to represent that. So I go to my symbology tab, and I can search for fire. Once I click on it, it gives me the option to select a fire symbol or fire truck that would represent this particular feature. So I use this fire icon. Great, that is done. And for the fire stations, I would like to re-symbolize that as well. So once I click on it, I can re-symbolize that into something else. So type in fire again. I'll like to use the fire truck to symbolize the fire stations. So I think the fire truck symbol here is very small. So I'll just like to increase that so we can see. So under properties, I'll just make this 20 by size, and I can apply it. Yes, so we have the fire stations also showing. So on a general, we have a general understanding of the spread of this data on our map, and we can see there seem to be a lot of these fires happening around the Greater Accra region. And from a general understanding of this data, I think it looks like most of the fire stations are also located around this area. So it means this area is highly populated, and as such is prone to some of these incidents. So it will not be surprising for us to have a number of fire stations located there, which is another thing we could do with the analysis actually. But I think for today, we will look at one aspect, and maybe if time permits, we'll have to look at other areas. Great. So for today, I would like us to look at the proximity analysis. So we like to use the network analysis workflow in ArcGIS Pro in doing this. So once I go to my analysis tab and come down to the network analysis, I will see that yes, I'm logged into my organization. So here, Sambus Geospatial Technologies. Yes, and in this case, I will not be using a local data set of the road network in performing my analysis. So I'll be using the Living Atlas road network in doing this. So, and in this case, it means I'll be consuming some of my ArcGIS Online service credit, because I'll be using the Living Atlas to do this. But from the network analysis, we see we have a number of analysis we could perform. So we could define the service area for each fire station, We could also do a routing system from the service area or the fire station to wherever we want. We can also do the closest facility. We can do allocation, origin to destination, amongst others. But for today, my interest would be for us to look at the closest facility. So I'd like us to try our hands on that. So I'll click on that for us to see. So we'll give it some time to load. All right, I think it's done. Yes, so we have loaded that in, which is good. Great. So under the network analysis tool, the closest facility is open, so we can see some of the functions that can be performed here. So in this particular area, we'll be able to, for the input data section, we'll be able to import the facilities, we'll be able to input the incidents, and we can add boundaries or barriers that would prevent us from using some particular road networks. That's if we have any. So so let's say for this particular one, there's a roadworks on a particular road that you know of, or there's a road blockage somewhere, and you have that particular data as in points or lines or in polygon format. You can import that in here to aid in the routing of the fire truck from whichever fire station it is to the fire incident. And you can also manually add some of these. That's if you use this particular button, small button here. So in here, if there's a barrier or a restriction on the road I know of, I can just click on it and I can edit it on the map by adding them. And when I perform the analysis, it will try to go around those particular features. Great. But in this case, for our particular case, I will not be doing that. So I can just close this. We'll be looking at the travel time as well. So travel time, here we will be dealing with fire trucks and not saloon cars. So for the mode, I would like to change that to tracking time. So we'll be calculating the tracking time in minutes for that, and we want to get a direction towards a facility, or if we want, we can do it away from the facility. So in this case, from we'll be moving from the facility to the fire incident. So let me just leave it as away from the facility. If there are any cutoffs, we can put it in there if we want. That's if depending on the distance. And the facilities, we want to know we just want one facility, want to identify one facility to the fire incident. So I can leave it here. So if we change this to 2 facilities, it will try to get 2 different facilities and find out the one that is closest to a fire incident. But for this particular purpose, I'll just leave it as 1. That's good. So if we're to have date and times where we know the road will be clear and free, we could add that as well. But in this case, not using time, we just leave it as that. But if you had some dates and times that you know, maybe some particular roads and streets will be available or closed, you can also add this, and you can add all those restrictions to the closest facility analysis. For the output geometry, we are interested in the routes, the routes along the networks, so the road networks. So we just leave it as along the road networks. We don't want it to go across roads. We don't need a straight line to it or a path, but we are interested in getting it along the road so that a car can maneuver through. And for the directions, it's one thing you could check or uncheck depending on what you are doing. For this case, I would like to get the directions as well, so I can just check this after running the process, and I can after running it, I can show the directions and to show me the route to the route from the fire station to the nearest fire. So once I've looked at all this, I would like us to look at importing this data into our closest facility mapping. So in this case, I'll come to the input data, you saw that I just unchecked the data that was loaded previously, which is the fire incidents and the fire stations, because I don't want to repeat them on the map. So once I come to import facility, I can click on it and I can add the facilities I'm interested in. So in this case, closest facility, once I come down to the input location, I find fire stations, which is what I'm interested in. So I can click on that. And in at the end of the day, I want to know the name of the facility to the fire incident. So I can just select name. So you remember when I showed you the attribute table for the fire stations, there was a column with name, which gives the name of the fire facility. Some of them were not labeled, but in this case, I'll just choose the name. And those that are not labeled, numbers to be attached to them, numbers to be given to them in the process. So I'm happy with what I'll be doing here. Great, so I can just OK it for it to be translated onto the map. Yes, so it's done. I can OK, and there we see. So the data has been imported. I can also import the incidents. So in this case, our incidents are the fire incidents. So I just pick on it, and the name I was interested in when I showed the attribute table was the location O. So I just select that as well. So we can get the names. So once I apply, that will run as well. Great, and I can OK that. And we see the square boxes represent the incident, and the round ones are the fire stations. I would like to change, re-symbolize the features so we can understand what is happening. So once I go to symbology, like we did previously, I can change this. So once I type fire in the search, for the facilities, I can select the truck, and in the properties, increase this to 20 as I did previously. Once I apply, we'll see it reflecting on the map. For the incident, I will do same. I will re-symbolize that into fire, just like we did for the normal points earlier. So that has been done as well. Great. So we have inputted the facilities, and we have also inputted the incidents, and we can now run this and to give us the output. So for before we started this, I mentioned we'll be using some of our service credit, as we are not using any local data set. If you would, if you are using the ArcGIS Pro and you want to find out the amount of credit you are using, you can estimate the credit here, as you see. So in this case, I can just run it for us to see. So I'll be using about 25 credits, approximately 25 credits for this particular analysis. All right, then that's okay. So once I run it, let's go. You see the process taking effect on the far right. So just give it some few minutes to load for us. Then we can come and have a look at it. Yes. Yes. So far, are there any questions? Any questions for us?
It seems we have a couple of questions in the chat.
A couple of questions.
Section. Yes.
All right. So this has just finished loading. Let me complete this. Then we can have some time for the questions and answer session. All right. Okay. So our closest facility routing is complete. So we can see the routes indicated here in green. So from the fire station to the closest fire. Yes, you can see them indicated here. Let me see. I think I would like us to talk to this particular one. Yeah. So once we click on that, it looks very long from a visual understanding, but that is on the Accra Tema motorway, which is a motorway, so at least the cars can move quite fast. So in this case, I think the fire was the fire incident. So in this case, I think there was no name, so we have fire ID, just the number indicated there. So by somewhere around the Accra Mall area, that's where the fire incident happened. And the closest facility, the closest fire station to that particular one, based on time, the tracking time is 16 minutes, and that is from the far end of the motorway at Ashaman, towards the Ashaman area. So from that one, it will take about 16 minutes for the truck to arrive, and it's about 17 kilometers. But once it's on the motorway, we assume it's going to be quite faster, so we are able to measure all these cases, and that will be one of the fastest route to that particular fire, even though it looks more like there are other fire stations that are closer to that particular incident. So based on the traffic situation and other phenomenon, the Tema motorway will be the fastest to that particular fire. So someone as an analyst at the Ghana National Fire Service will be interested in doing some of these things, understanding which fire station to call on to attend to which fire as and when it occurs. Great. All right. So basically for this particular portion, I think that is it for the closest facility. But as I mentioned earlier, once you go to the analysis tab and the network analysis, you see there are a number of other things that can be done using this particular tool. I think time is quite fast spent. I would quickly like to show a dashboard of using this particular information for someone who is a fire manager, so someone who is not so much interested in the analytics, but interested in understanding the general overview of the situation. Great. So this is a simple dashboard that was designed basically using the same data I used for the analysis in ArcGIS Pro. So in here, yes. So in here, we saw that we had 49 individual fire outbreaks. So it stated that the total number of fires is 49, and the total number of people affected per our research online was approximately 3,750, with about 1,357 deaths. We can see that. But for a fire manager who might not be interested in the nitty-gritties behind the back end of this, we want to know, in this particular area, what was the situation. So let's just zoom into the Greater Accra area. So in this case, I think we have a bit of central region, as you can see. So as we are zooming in, the regional count is also showing us exactly what we are interested in, and the number of people affected is also reducing. The number of deaths is also reducing because we are now specific on the map. So I think now I'm just looking at some portion of the Greater Accra region. So in our original map, we see just Greater Accra stated below, and we can see there were, for the portion I'm looking at currently on the map view, we have 20 outbreaks with about 1,706 people affected, with about 1,200 deaths, which is quite high. So depending on what you're interested in as a data fire manager somewhere, you can now pan through the map and you will see different things being displayed to you. For the dashboard, as I mentioned, this is just a quick one, trying to give the fire manager a quick understanding of the situation and the trends that are happening. Great. All right, so I would like to end here for today. I think time is fast spent, so we'll not have a look at the ArcGIS Insight, but probably later on in the course of this webinar series, we will look at that more. All right. Okay, so I think I will stop sharing my screen now so we can attend to some of the questions that have come up. So, Madam Moderator, over to you. You can let us understand the questions, and we'll see if we can address them all.
Yes, thank you, Justin, once again. I've been paying attention, and it looks like it's quite an amount of data we would need to carry out an analysis of this form. So would like to invite questions. It seems we have a couple already in the chat box. If you'd like some clarification, you can also make a request. You can raise your hand up for us to get to know you have a question, and then we'll unmute you. But for now, the questions we have, the first one says, under severity, I'm assuming in the section with ArcGIS 7123, can I select all the options, namely low, medium, and high, or just one option? So, Justin.
All right. So in this case, it's just one option that can be selected. We will not want to complicate the entire process by making it that way. So in this case, we want to be able to run specific analysis. So if you select all the three and we are doing an analysis on just the severity, it will be difficult for one to understand how can one fire incident be presented in three different aspects. It started low, medium, high. It will be a little bit confusing. So in this case, just one. Yeah. Okay. I hope I answered your question.
It seems we have two hands up, but with your permission, I would like to read the next question after this.
Mm-hmm.
After mapping the fire outbreak incidents, vulnerable areas, and hotspots, do you typically use causality analysis tools in ArcGIS Pro or ArcGIS ArcMap or ArcGIS Online to identify the causal factors of the fire outbreaks and determine the most influential factor?
Okay. This is a nice one. This one will involve a little bit more work than what we just did here. But so it will depend on the kind of form you have generated. So in this case, I think we're not so much interested in the effect of or the cause of the fire incident, or we didn't do a risk analysis mapping. So some of the features in this particular situation would not, this particular question will not be answered with this particular form that was created. But if you are interested in doing a risk mapping, definitely the questions will be different. And if you are interested in doing the causality analysis, definitely you might want to add a little bit more to this particular survey. And yes, the causality analysis will be able to help predict some of the causes of some fires. But in this case, we didn't use it, but it would. Yeah. All right. I hope I've answered it.
Let me see. Please kindly let us know by a thumbs up if your question has been answered.
I think we still have two hands up.
Yeah. So another question was included in the chat section, but we would like to move to our participants who have their hands up. Starting with Valentine, it seems their hand went up first. So I'm unmuting you, Valentine, so you can speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Justin, I think my question will be on the dashboard. It's just something I want you to, if possible, educate me a bit on. If probably you can send the presentation back to the dashboard, because I realized that there was a portion you were scrolling through the regions, and you see that the where the serial charts are were changing, conforming to what the situation was. So I just wanted to know, how did you configure that?
Okay. All right. So I'm back here.
So probably maybe if I should introduce myself well, I'm with Ghana Water Limited, and I think I've had a chance to meet Papna Dente and Mr. Gerald. So we did something small on this, but I'm much interested in what I just saw. That's why I'm actually throwing this question.
Okay. All right. So in the back end of this particular dashboard, you would see that's where the linkage was actually done, so that they are connected in the way that it works. Yes, but that is something that we it's quite it's not difficult, but because this one is the webinar, and once we are talking to you maybe on this, maybe we'll have to find a way of either in our subsequent webinars show the backend and how some of these things are done.
Okay, but sorry, let me check this into. I also realize you are using the ArcGIS Pro, but in my end, we use the ArcGIS Enterprise. I don't know, is it also possible in ArcGIS Enterprise? Because I know the packages are different. We have the Pro, the Online, and then the Enterprise, but we are using the Enterprise.
Oh yes, definitely. Once you have the Enterprise, well, most of the purchases come with the Pro. So once you have the Enterprise, you have a Pro that you can use in doing most of your analysis. So it's no problem. In this case, I'm using the Pro just because I want to make it much simpler for us. Yes, but with your question again, once you are interested in this, I think it will be good for you to leave your details in maybe with our moderator. We can contact you later and try to look at how we can work around something like that for you. Okay. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's very okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. All right. Okay, so I think there was another hand up.
Yes, I'm unmuting you, Mr. Mustafa, now. Kindly let us know your question. Hello, Mr. Mustafa. Please, can you hear me? All right, as we wait for...
Can I please speak now?
Yes, please, yeah.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Justin, and thank you for the presentation. And Jasmine, thank you for organizing the webinar. My background is petroleum geophysics and GIS. So I work primarily on in the oil and gas, but we have conservation that are struggling to have a GIS analyst in their organization. So I'm helping them. So some of the tools I'm using in the conservation, they're new to me. Currently, I'm handling the fire incidents, but not city fires. It's wildfires in the communities where they have the national parks of the country, highly protected area, highly conservative areas where you have protected species. So one of the problems we have with the community is farmland fires, where we can't stop the people from doing their farm. They have to do their farm. So the objective here is to protect the highly conservative areas from being affected with the fires. So my challenge is to do buffers for those areas. Recently, we trapped a lion. We don't know where the lion came from, but one of our cameras trapped a lion. So we have to go to the community, talk to them about this discovery of the lion in the environment. So we agree with the community to do a buffer in the area where we we observe the lion is. But the challenge I have is the standard EU put on what they call a fire belt. So what I did before was to just digitize a line in the area, in the boundary area of where we know the lion is staying. But the EU standard said no, oh, they don't like the buffer. Sorry. So I did a buffer of a 5 kilometer, but the state said it's not part of their standard. So I've requested for them to do a training for me to see what they call a fire belt. So I don't know what you can advise. I think the last time I had a discussion with you on that, but I'm still struggling with what they define as a fire belt.
Okay. That's very true. So I think in this particular case, it will be interesting for you to get the exact definition of what a fire belt is.
Right.
Then maybe we can work around it, because if you have buffered and they are not satisfied with that, and digitizing it is not something they're satisfied with either, then it means we need to understand exactly what their definition of the fire belt is. Then we will be able to find the exact tool that will be able to do that in the ArcGIS environment. But for now, because as you have just spoken, I cannot directly pinpoint one particular tool in ArcGIS environment to say this one should solve it. Maybe we need to understand their definition, then we can work around it.
Yeah, I kind of confused, because to me, digitizing the line and buffer the line, that's supposed to, because the objective there is just to have the area being built, and then the community will go and then clear the area. It's to make just a natural fire belt, and the community will clear the area. So if there is any fire from the farm, it will not jump to the conservation area. But from a map point of view, I think they are not satisfied with that work.
Okay. Yeah. Then in that case, we need to understand their.
Yeah. Physically, the people have cleared the area, and the fire will not jump the boundary. But from a map point of view, for their official files, they need something better than the buffer. So I've already requested them to do a definition of what they refer to as a fire belt.
Yes, I think that would be the best way to go in this case. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So maybe as and when you get that information, you can connect with us, and we'll see how best we could we can assist you with that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa, for your question. Since we have two more in the chat, for the sake of time, we would take a look at those two and then close the session, because we are far behind time. However, we are still here. If you still have questions, you can still send us an email, send us a message, and we will try to respond to that. Kindly fill the feedback form as well. It would help us to monitor our progress with the organization. And there's also a slot for you to let us know what else you would like to learn in our future webinars. All right. So our two questions are from Madam Regina and Mr. Jimmy. Madam Regina's question is, can the closest facility tool be used for determining the path from a farm site to a major paved road?
Okay, I'm trying to a path from a farm site to a major paved road. Yes, it can be done, but in this case, I'm looking at the possibility that you would have the path in the living atlas might be limited. So in this case, it might require one to properly digitize the path from the farm to the roads. And once you have digitized it properly and made it a data set that network analysis can be performed, is very possible. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, Madam Regina, if you are still here, kindly send us a thumbs up. Okay, it's been answered. Our
All right.
final question: is the dashboard feature a part of ArcGIS Pro?
Oh, I see Madam Regina has answered that question. So she says yes in the comment section. So I think, Jimmy, your question has been answered by one of our participants.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Madam Regina, for answering that one on our
thank
behalf.
you very much. Okay. At this point, we would like to say a very, very massive thank you to our participants. Without you, this webinar couldn't have taken place. I would like to, before we finally close, leave us with some food of thought. There's this quote from Jack Danjumon, and he said that the application of GIS is limited only by the imagination of those who use it. That means that the workflow that we've done here, or any other workflow analysis that you can think of, can be used for multiple functions, can be used for multiple places, can be used for multiple instances. It's a very versatile tool and workflow. So, like a question was asked about measuring distance from the front to the main road, you can use similar analysis. So let us know what you want to learn more of in the feedback survey. We look forward to that. And we look forward to seeing you in our very next webinar. We at Sambus Geospatial are always interested in building the capacity of our clients, of our community, and we specialize in geospatial technologies. If you would like to get the tools to perform your own analysis, we are here for you. Kindly reach out to us. If you even want more training or further training on some of these analysis workflows and the tools, again, we can help you with that. You can visit our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X, or formerly known as Twitter, via @Sambus GIS. We have a YouTube channel where you can get access to our other training videos, and our name is Sambus Geospatial over there also. Thank you so much once again. We look forward to seeing you in the next one, and all the best in your activities for the day. Take care, everyone.